Why do millions of people drop everything, travel across the world, and march through the desert every single year, just to circle a cube? It sounds crazy, until you realize they've tapped into something most of us are too scared to face. You ever stop and ask yourself why millions of people leave everything behind, pack up their lives, and travel halfway across the world, every single year, just to walk in circles around a cube? In the desert, think about that. It's wild on the surface, right? Millions of people. Different languages, different faces, rich, poor, strong, weak, all funneling into the same place, wearing the same simple cloth, stripping down all the identity markers the world usually chains us with. CEO next to janitors, soldiers next to artists, no flexing, no branding, no I'm special because I have this. Just stripped bare humanity moving in sync towards something bigger than themselves, and the question is, why? What are they chasing that we're not? What force pulls human beings with that kind of gravity? You and I, we can barely commit to the gym 3 days in a row, but these people save for years, plan their entire lives around one journey just to show up, sweat it out in the sun, and surrender to something invisible. That's not tourism. That's not some vacation. That's raw human devotion. Now, whether or not you believe in their faith doesn't even matter for this conversation. Forget religion for a second, zoom out, look at the psychology, the energy, the sheer discipline. People walk away from comfort, leave their families, face blistering heat, crowded chaos, sleep on the floor, eat what they're given, and they call it the most transformative experience of their life. Why? Because struggle is sacred, because discomfort wakes you up. You ever notice how in life the moments you remember, the ones that tattoo themselves onto your soul, they're almost never easy ones? Nobody looks back and says, wow, I'll never forget that one summer I watched every show in bed. No, what you remember is when you pushed yourself past breaking, when you lifted more than you thought you could, when you lost everything and rebuilt yourself, when you stood in storm and refused to collapse. That's where the real magic is. So here's this pilgrimage, this massive yearly movement of humanity, and at its core it's about stripping away the ego, facing your limits, and realizing you're small, you're temporary, but you're also connected to something eternal. And man, that realization hits deep, because most of us live like we're gonna last forever. We chase toys, titles, followers, money. We drown in distractions. We numb ourselves with entertainment, food, alcohol, whatever. Also, we can avoid staring at that hard truth. We're not in control. We're just with a clock ticking, and maybe that's the exact medicine we need to be reminded of how tiny we really are. And here's the crazy part. The more you accept your smallness, the stronger you get. The more you surrender, the freer you are. People don't understand that. They think freedom means no rules, no limits, do whatever you want. That's fake freedom. That's chaos disguised as liberty. Real freedom is mastery. Real freedom is when you're not a slave to your impulses, your fears, your addictions. When you can look temptation in the eye and say, not today. That's strength. And that's exactly what that pilgrimage is training for. Because out there, you can't flex your wealth. You can't show off your status. You're standing shoulder to shoulder with strangers, dressed the same, moving as one. Your ego has no stage to perform on, and that's terrifying if you've built your identity on status. Imagine if tomorrow you had to wear the same clothes as everyone else in your city. No jewelry, no makeup, no cars, no brand logos, just you, stripped, nothing to hide behind. Who are you then? Can you even stand in that nakedness without falling apart? That's what people are confronting when they go, and you know what's wild. They come back different. Not because the desert air is magic, not because the food tastes better, but because they face themselves. They burned off the extra layers of bullshit we all carry around, the masks, the lies, the little comforts we cling to so we don't have to feel the raw truth of existence. And once you've tasted that kind of honesty, you can't go back. And I wonder, why do we wait for some external event, some pilgrimage, some tragedy, some wake-up call to start living like that? Why do we need to get stripped of everything before we realize what matters? You don't have to fly across the world to practice discipline. You don't need millions of people around you to face yourself. You could start right now, in your room, in your habits, in your daily grind. Ask yourself, what are you worshiping? Don't roll your eyes. I'm not talking religion. I'm talking about what you give your time, your energy, your soul to, because that's your God. If you wake up and the first thing you do is scroll mindlessly on your phone, that's your God. If every weekend you're drowning your stress in drinks, that's your altar. If you're sacrificing your body at the temple of junk food, that's worship, and we all worship something. The question is what you worship making you stronger, or is it hollowing you out? See, people who travel to that place every year, they're rehearsing their death. That's what nobody wants to say out loud. That's why they wear the same white cloth you get buried in. That's why they circle endlessly to remind themselves life is a cycle. You come, you go. You're not eternal in the flesh. And when you live with that awareness, suddenly your priorities shift. You stop chasing nonsense. You stop wasting your energy trying to impress people who don't even care. You start asking, what actually matters when it's all stripped away? And man, that's the question most people never ask. We just drift. Years fly by, and one day we wake up, old, bitter, realizing we traded our life for comfort, for cheap thrills, for things that never filled the hole inside us. And then it's too late. So let me challenge you right now. Strip down, take inventory. If everything was taken from you tomorrow, money gone, job gone, looks gone, followers gone, who would you be? What would you stand for? What truth would you hold in your chest when nothing else is left? That's your foundation. That's your pilgrimage, even if you never step foot in the desert. And don't get it twisted, this isn't about perfection. Nobody's perfect. Everybody falls. Everybody struggles. That's part of it. The question isn't whether you'll get knocked down. You will. The question is, will you stay there? Will you drown in excuses, or will you rise? Will you build discipline like armor? Or will you keep letting life punch you in the face while you cry about fairness? Because life doesn't care about fairness. The world doesn't owe you comfort. The clock is ticking whether you like it or not. And every distraction you indulge, every weakness you feed is stealing from your one shot at this. Millions of people march every year to remind themselves of this truth. What's stopping you from doing the same in your daily life? Stop hiding. Stop numbing yourself. Stop pretending you'll live forever. You won't. Face it. Embrace it. Let that reality light a fire under you. Let it burn away the laziness, the excuses, the fear. Live with urgency. Live like it actually matters, because it does. So here's your call to action. Start your own pilgrimage right here, right now. Maybe it's quitting the habits that are killing you. Maybe it's finally confronting the fear you've been avoiding. Maybe it's waking up earlier, training harder, speaking the truth instead of swallowing it. Whatever it is, do it with the mindset of someone who knows they're running out of time. Millions of people march to Mecca every year to remember who they are. What's stopping you from doing the same in your own life? So here it is, the lesson in all of this. Millions travel across the earth every single year, not because they're chasing comfort, not because it's easy, but because deep down they know the truth. Struggle is sacred. Discomfort reveals who you are. Stripping away the ego is the only way you ever touch real freedom. That pilgrimage, it's not about the desert, it's not about the distance, it's about the death of illusion and the birth of clarity. And the crazy thing is, you don't need a plane ticket to taste that. You can live it, right here, right now. The question is, will you face yourself? Will you stop worshiping distractions, stop bowing to weakness, stop pretending you'll live forever? Or are you gonna drift, numb, scrolling your life away until there's nothing left but regret? You already know the answer. You feel it in your chest right now, that urgency, that pull, that whisper telling you, get up, move. Do it. That's your inner call to pilgrimage. Don't ignore it. Don't bury it. Act on it. Make your life the journey. Make your discipline the altar. Make your truth the destination. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is whether you lived real, whether you left comfort behind and walked into the fire of transformation, whether you stood naked, stripped of all your masks, and still had the courage to say, this is me, this is what I stand for, this is my path. That's the battle cry. That's the challenge. Start now. Don't wait. Don't delay. Build your own Mecca.
Inside your habits, your discipline, your truth, live with urgency, live like it matters, because it does, and if this hit you, if this shook something inside, you don't keep it to yourself, share it, drop a comment with what you're taking from it, hit like if you felt that fire, send it to
someone who needs to wake up, spread the energy, spread the urgency, because the world doesn't need more noise, it needs more people awake, alive, and unafraid. Now go. Walk your path, make it sacred.